Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody, to another medicine from our hands.
Come on.
All right, so with your host, Dr. Charlie, elemental alchemist and healer, bringing ancient medicine back to a modern age.
Blossom, full spectrum doula, chef, herbalist, and creating medicine with my hands and giving it to you all.
Yes, so thank you. And y'all, it's happening. So welcome to the apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Come on. In it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the episodes, Fire Horse started, Saturn, Neptune in Aries started, and World War III has started. If you haven't been paying attention to what's happening. However, we're here for giving you the silver lining that World War III is for us. It is our revolution, and the people are revolting. And that is what World War III is all about. And that is why we are here to be the next step of World War III when it's time for healing. So we are preparing and gathering the people here because people who want to fight, fine. But we're here for the healing. We're not here.
I'll be over there healing.
Yeah, our
Don't
revolution is the healing revolution over here.
Praise God.
Yes.
I'm so grateful we're in this era.
And that's why we have so many awesome announcements and events that are coming up this next 2-3 weeks for you all. Because we are here in Houston. We are sharing amazing events that's happening in our community because we're here to be conscious, to be aware of the medicine. We are constantly, all of us, giving and sharing and also receiving as humans, as beautiful souls here. So we're here to really hold space for everybody here with the communities here in Houston. And so to start off, I've got a grand opening this weekend.
Yeah.
Our clinic called Tranquility. The motto is shift happens.
Come on.
So come and find balance at Tranquility.
Yeah, because y'all know about that shift be happening.
Exactly.
Life be lifing.
We're so full of shift these days that it's time for us. Shift has really happened, y'all.
So if you need help with your shift, go check out Dr. Charlie.
Yes.
Where is it going to be?
So our clinic is in Katy, North Katy, so above the 10 freeway. And we're opening up, and so we have my practice, which will be the traditional Eastern medicine with private sound bath, as well as pranic healing and astrology readings or astrology understanding for everybody. And then we actually have a really cool machine. It's called the Hocket machine. It's called, I always have trouble remembering the name of this, but it's
come.
Hyperthermic carbonic. So it's basically
Bubonic,
tectonic, removing tectonic. So it's basically a sauna machine that uses carbon, the ozone layer of the carbon, oxygen. It's a very complicated system, but what it does is actually forces you to sweat more. And sweating and purging the sweats and the lymphatic system is one of our medicines in TCM. And so it's very important for us to go through the sweating. It's basically a mini sweat lodge for people, right? Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, it adds multiple modalities in it. And so one of the things that we have on this machine is called the Rife Machine. And y'all, if you guys haven't looked at Rife Machine, it's amazing. It uses frequency electrodes to actually send signals into your body to cancel certain frequencies that you are running with.
Wow.
So like inflammation is a frequency that happens in your body. So when you actually put your foot on these metal pads, it sends a signal for whatever issues you're having, like inflammation, and it cancels out that vibration. Yeah, it's called the Rife Machine. You guys should look it up. Rife, also orgone energy. So if you guys probably seen my amazing orgone necklaces.
Check it out.
Can
you zoom in? How do we do this? Okay. Zoom in because this is magical here. Yeah. And I'm gonna put my hand behind it. Do y'all see that?
So that's my dragon.
Detail?
I had someone put my dragon. This is using watermelon tourmaline, but the concept of orgone energy, it uses this organic material and non-organic material. So a lot of times they use metals to attract negative ions, and then they use crystals to convert the negative ions to positive ions. So what it's really doing is a transconductor and transmuter of negative ions to positive ions. These positive ions show up more like the positive electrons that we pick up. So you've probably heard of free radicals. The free radicals are just releasing negative toxins. But actually, if you convert them to positive toxin or positive ions, you can start capturing those ions, put it back into your body, and now you have extra ions for electricity because we are bioelectrical magnetic beings.
Wow. So is that also similarly the same system when people are lacking in oxygen, and then there's oxygen tanks to help with breathing? Like that super flux of an element?
So we actually put an oxygen tank on your nose.
Really?
Yeah, because what's happening is the more oxygen you're taking in, the more you're creating the oxygen carbon release. And then
the more you're like a tree.
Yes. Well, opposite of a tree.
Okay, well,
We're
the
backwards.
opposite.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so basically, we are the carbon dioxide that we release to the trees to take that carbon, create sugars, and then release oxygen for us. So literally, if you guys are like, oh, we don't need plants, science has told you need plants. None of us can actually survive without oxygen. And so you need plants to get the oxygen to us because we release carbon dioxide.
Dr. Charlie, meet the man. And all I have to say is this brilliant man knows all of this, holds all this information. And all I can say is, please come to this grand opening. I have yet to sit with this Rife Machine. I am just on the edge of my seat, begging to. When the day comes, it will be the day. But
yes.
It's so fascinating. But the passion, what he just expressed, is all I can say as just a co-host and co-partner to so many projects with Charlie. It's so amazing, the scope of his work. Did y'all know inflammation was a frequency? I bet you didn't. But what I know, the medicine that I've been dealing with is ginger helps with inflammation. So I also would love to see food, vibrational energetics, how that coincides with healing, because it must.
Right. So food is very important in our practice. However, it's much tougher. Food is an addiction in this country, especially in Houston here. We love our all-you-can-eat buffets.
But I love it.
I know, I do too.
I love it.
But, this is like actually, I'm seeing the transition, and we saw that in Hot Pot. The all-you-can-eat experience has to have quality meats, quality food. And that's the buffet we should be eating. We should not be eating the buffet where it's like low-quality food filled with chemicals. Then you're just an all-you-can-eat poison buffet.
And what is that about? How can you guys keep being in business?
Yeah. And if you guys don't believe that we're being fed poisons in our convenience stores and our grocery stores,
wake up.
You guys should listen to this whole movement that Make America Healthy Again is going through. They are literally making chemicals, artificial flavoring. And if you guys do your research on where this artificial flavoring comes from, you'd be like, what the fuck? Right? I'll cuss for that. What the fuck? We should not be eating any of this food. And so a lot of people don't know this. Unfortunately, the low-income groups of people will always pick cheaper food. And unfortunately, cheaper food are always made to destroy you. Look it up, y'all. Like, this is why, if you pay attention, the elite class that we talk about and make fun of, they don't eat any of our food. They actually, if you get this just happened. This whole McDonald's CEO eating his own burger. He was like afraid to eat it because they don't fucking eat their own food, y'all.
Really?
They don't.
Yikes.
Because they are giving us food to hurt us, and this is why this is so important.
And what are we doing to ruminate all of this, to remediate? Come to Sacred Bites.
Yes.
It's happening this Sunday, the 15th, from 4 to 7 p.m. And guess what? There won't be any poison. Thank God.
Home cooked too, by the way. So it is Blossom here, who will be energetically providing the food, right? So it's not like some random person you don't know who's probably having a shitty day in the grocery store giving your food, right?
Wow.
And that's the energy that is being dumped in your food.
Yeah. So our whole purpose of bringing medicine from our hands in community by way of Sacred Bites is to have an organic meal, to do it with one another, we dance, we sing. The food is blessed and prayed for. Taking time to slow down and just digest your food and then have a sound bath and fire. It's just like a bite of the most comforting life you can have. It's Thanksgiving. It's maybe, I don't know. What else?
This is kind
camping
of,
in life?
this is kind of what's happening in the world. Everybody talking about how everything is devoid of spirit. And so what we're trying to do is bring the spirit back into things, right? You have to eat. That is a physiology thing you have to do. However, you don't have to do it in a fucked up mind state. You can do it in a positive, happy mind state because they have done studies that they have done research where like they took two different mice, they fed them the same crappy food, but they found that one group actually was being treated nicely and played with right before they ate. So they found that those mice who were eating the same crappy food, but in play and love, were actually able to digest the food better than those who were eating the food in a adrenaline or heavy cortisol body because they're in a stress mode. And so a lot of times when we say stop stressing while you're eating, it's a prescription. It is not advice. It's like almost like life or death.
Because we know so much food, body discrepancies, bulimia, overeating, anorexia, all of those things is because the environment in which we grew up eating, the lunchroom, at home, early childhood, post
TV dinners,
it was not the best. And we have carried it, the body keeps a score. We've carried it in our physiology, and it can come up and be in the form of addiction, caffeine, alcohol, etc., food, unaddressed discrepancies and emotions show up in addictions later. So with Sacred Bites, the purpose is to bring awareness about the food that you're eating. And this time we're celebrating Italy. So we're going to be having fresh focaccia and pasta handmade.
Yeah, flatbread, because we don't call it pizza in Italy.
3 sauces, exactly. But it's actually focaccia. I looked it up. Yeah,
it's called focaccia.
From Italy.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, but like it's focaccia. It's not even flatbread. It's like the real deal.
But did they put like the sauce on it and everything?
Yeah, we Americanized a lot.
Yeah,
so
that's what I thought. Just like orange chicken is so Americanized. No Asian is eating orange chicken.
No one. But just know the food's going to be blessed and holy and amazing. And I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah. So after Sacred Bites, we've got next week so I have a sound bath next week on the 21st at the American College of Acupuncture and Herbal Medicine. And we do that every 2 weeks. And so we've really been gathering a group around the school. And a lot of people are coming from the campus. But it's a really nice space too. It's a really big space. And we found like, how can we provide wellness to the community so that community can really meet in the school, and the school is basically not using this space. And so we basically push to like say, hey, let's bring your community into your school so that we're supporting community. And the reason community is super important is, I've been a doctor for about 2-3 years now, but what I find a lot of times when they find out I'm a doctor, it automatically goes sometimes into like they want a therapy session, and so often it's like, I could just sit down and do a therapy session, but again, like I don't always have the time to sit down and I do want to talk to people and help people through things. So this is why we have these events. I may not be the one that helps you through things, but in my community and all the people, amazing people around us, you'll find somebody who's amazing enough to sit down and listen to you and allow you to share what you're going through. And that's the deeper conversation of why we do these events, because as much as I love to be there for everybody, and Blossom as well, she's tried to. I've told her to not try to be there for everybody.
Oh my goodness.
And so we're trying to get everybody to show up in one place so that we're not the only one to be your healer. All of us are. That's why we said medicine from our hand. There are more of us,
There's many hands.
Thank
God for that.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's many people working on the same mission and project, and it's to help heal the world.
Exactly.
People keep saying, how do we change? How do we be the change? It just stop looking at the outside. Go inward and change. I mean, start with the man in the mirror.
Exactly. Yeah, everything starts in the front of the mirror.
Yeah. So right after that, more medicine coming down the chute. We have Medicine for the People that is happening the 19th through the 23rd. I'm super excited about this one. The last medicine I went to was incredible. I still don't have words. I've met incredible people who are doing amazing things like song circles and Reiki and just really finding a modality in their life, freaking it, and then sharing it at this magical land. So me and my 6-piece ensemble band will be there. We will be under the collective primitive experience, and we're going to do this beautiful offering that blends prayer, intentionality, passive and active breath work, music, live drumming, and some vocal accompaniment by myself and others. So I also will do some vending, some popsicles. It's going to be a fly time.
Yeah, Medicine for the People is
And camping.
It's a good experience. I think a lot of people who are really looking for these spiritual conscious tribes and groups is a good place to go to Medicine. Because you're getting like the gamut of like you can talk about Reiki and people get it. You can talk about acupuncture and people get it. A lot more conscious people. People kind of stereotype these groups in terms of endearment, hippies, right? However, like, the hippies have grown up and we are not as like dirty and like living outdoors and like homeless people. No, like us hippies are like working CEOs. Like we are
we're hip.
Yeah.
Hipper.
We're hip.
Hip.
We're conscious and hip. And again, we're trying to come in community because we were probably all struggling in the everyday life with whatever crap the corporation, the matrix, taxes, city fraud. Like we're constantly being bombarded with that, and so we're really finding each other in groups. And so, Medicine for the People is a really fun. It's camping, and it's music, and it's the whole outdoor experience. So I would recommend if you haven't been to any of these conferences festivals, go to these festivals. They're really a lot of fun, at least for once, to try it out.
And there's food. It's family friendly. There's something for kids. There's beautiful river. It's just Texas is amazingly beautiful, and we should all be. Every Texan should be doing more events outside. Period. That's what I've learned and taken from going to these experiences, because once your life has changed forever. And once your life has changed forever and you're better in that change, you have better life. You have longevity in life. You have vitality in life. Every cell dances. So I'm always looking for resets that I can weave into my own natural healing journey in medicine that makes me better. And that's one of them.
Yeah. So definitely check out Medicine for the People. And then the following week, it's basically on Sunday through Monday, Tuesday, I will be at the Conference for Medicine and Religion. And that's a very fun one because this is less of the hippie group and more of what you would consider like the Matrix, right? However, like a lot of people are looking for that intersection between medicine and religion or spirituality, right? Because religion is more dogmatic than spirituality. And so this is a great opportunity no sound baths, y'all. So we're going to come in. And so last year was the first time they introduced a sound bath into the whole experience. And it wasn't scheduled. We just came in and say, hey, can we do sound bath for people who want to experience it? So we just they let us put a little piece of paper that says, who wants to come to the sound bath tonight? Dow Jackie. We went to their conference and we ended up walking out
Your favorite.
with an experience.
Cool.
And one of the guy who was there was the guy who is part of the Institute for Spirituality in Houston.
Oh, wow.
And so they are partners of this year's conference in medicine and religion. And he went to the experience and he got out of it. He goes, that was amazing. I want you guys to come back for next year's conference. And I was like, where's next year's conference? In Houston. I was like, of course we'll be there. And so they offered us so we're we're connecting with other 2 Houston locals who are doing, they're more of the yoga sound bath groups. And so they're going to be doing the morning meditations into like activating yourself so that you're now able to like listen all day long to a conference. So they're doing the morning meditation for 30 minutes. And then in the evening, Sunday night and Monday night, we are doing a sound bath for everybody there. And so that's when we're really going deeper into healing people. A lot of times that people don't realize because they're closing their eyes, but I will move around with a bowl and the bowl will tell me where to stop, where to go, and where to activate what I call a blocked energy center.
That's what you're doing?
Yeah. So a lot of times I would just kind of move around and let the bowls talk to me. And this deeper conversation we'll have today about intuition is kind of where a lot of these healing modalities come from, is when you tune into your intuition, a lot of these things click in because you're no longer letting the ego tell you what to do, but you're letting the external energy and the internal energy kind of have a conversation together, and then they're giving you the feedback you need to understand from your perspective how to work with the energy around you. And that's why we do the whole meditation, silent retreat, because it's about listening to your intuition in your soul, in the body.
Because that's the God particle. That's something you were saying earlier to me. The God particle is, I guess in science, it would be the Big Bang Theory, but it's the constant and everything is going around it so fast all at once because it's happening. But because there's so much programming, distraction, all of the things, it's so rare in this human experience in here, 2026, to just be in stillness and not have self-rejection or abandonment or to get berated by someone else by saying, you're not doing anything. It's, I'm being well. I'm being. Meditation brings us back to the God particle. And Charlie, at every sound bath, at the end, he always mentions how this is the natural state your body needs to be in when it's healing and when healing is. And every single time, I'm not thinking or expecting him to say it, but he says it, and I'm like, that's what that feeling is. To be back with God and Source, you know?
Exactly.
And usually it's reminiscent of being in the womb because your eyes are closed and you're fully formed human.
Yes. You're paying attention to the body.
Doula. I get it. It makes a lot of. It's why I bring my sound bowls into births.
Exactly, because sound is the most important for a child when they're born because they don't have their eyes yet. And
Sound
they don't
is
understand the eyes.
The most important thing for adults. We've just bastardized language and heard it, and then made people feel weird for being deaf, and we don't learn sign language. You know, like it just all the things we get humans. I feel like we realized we were very soft and could bleed and had bones, but we got, and somewhere in our evolution, we got so calloused, so turned off from our own inward and outward input and output energies. And I don't know what that's about, but I'm in my healing journey to figure it out because I personally have been affected by it in just how I live, how I breathe, how I talk, how I move. And it's so unnecessary. So if I can help bring in new souls, babies, in the frequency of sound bowl, I've done what I came here to do, and thank God.
Yeah, you're the welcome party for the children, or what I call the God particles coming in, right? The God souls are coming in and activating. And so we'll go deeper into this deeper concept of insight, but because we get really excited about these events. That's why we're spending so much time explaining them.
But you know why I think it is? Because we can talk all day long about interesting topics.
And we do.
When we have an event, it puts a note. It tells the universe, it tells ourselves and our community, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing it for. And this is how we're helping. Yeah. So I feel I don't even care to go to events that I don't know what the intentionality or what's happening. So I think it is important to take time to really tell people who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going to be. Because if you're listening to this, you probably need some sort of this medicine that we're sharing. So thanks for listening also. We love you guys.
Yeah, thank you. But also just real quick, the Conference for Medicine and Religion is a little bit different because these are doctors. These are doctors in hospitals. These are nurses. These are priests and like literally preachers and pastors who work in the hospitals.
Wow.
Because some hospitals need to have these people because people die in hospitals constantly, right? I won't talk about the conspiracy of death in hospitals, but this is a deeper conversation because finally we're starting to address medicine needing to have the faith of a being, of someone. And so they even did a study. They found that actually anyone who has any kind of connection to higher power were able to heal faster than those who didn't have a connection to higher power, because they thought, well, shit, if the doctor is the only power that's going to save me, I'm fucked because he's human.
Wait, but guess what? It's all about belief because we're
Yes,
all connected to
exactly,
source.
exactly. So when you're sitting there and like some fucked up doctor told you you have some fucked up disease and you just sit down and pray to God, but really in your praying to God, you're trying to make a connection to your divine being, to your divine source. A lot of times this is where you're having your come to Jesus moment and suddenly Jesus is like, fucking stop listening to other people and heal yourself from within so that you can heal the cancer that they project on you. And so this is why spirituality and medicine goes hand in hand. It's ironically, that's the only conference here today that's bringing those together. So that's why it's a very big one for us to show up, as doctors, to call things out and say, hey, spirit and belief is part of your prescription. And if you don't have that, you're half cocked in trying to heal yourself, right? So those are the conversation we're having in this conference.
Awesome. Please give all the love to the doctors and nurses. The ones that have helped me with the births and the mothers that I help have been incredibly kind. Some incredibly not kind, but they need the sound bath. So
exactly. So the goal is for them to kind of go, hey, will you bring your sound bowls and sound bath to the hospital? And that's the goal, right? Because then if we can bring our magic bowls to a hospital, then we're at least offsetting some of the damages that they are doing in this hospital.
And not just for births, for everyone.
For everyone. Bowls are for everyone, y'all.
I love this life. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So then the next conference, it's a busy month for all of us. We're busy this month for sure. The following week, weekend, 28th and 29th, we have the Global Holistic Medicine Conference, a long name, American College of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, so the school I come from, but also Cassandra Wellness, which is a group of acupuncturists and doctors who are trying to bring holistic medicine back into the space. They're coming together to create a conference to make medicine global, or to bring the global conversation of medicine. So we have people from China coming in. We have a Chinese track where they're just speaking about Chinese things, or things, they're just speaking in Chinese. They're not talking about just Chinese things. They're talking about our medicine, but it's Chinese. And then we have the English track. And through that, we also have a public track where we now offer the people outside of this industry, so who are not doctors, who don't have licenses, but they just want to know about this medicine. They just want to know about TCM. They just want to know about some of the machines that we're using to support our healing. And so we have a Sunday, what's called a public track where anyone can come to the conference and experience our modalities. And that's where we're going to be doing our sound bowl. So we, Blossom, Misha, and I, the three of us are going to be doing and introducing people to sound baths at this conference. And the goal is to then, hopefully, they will start joining us for our bi-weekly sound baths at the school here in A-Leaf.
We're going to be there. I hope you're there. Come join us.
So this is going to be a lot of people internationally. We are now crossing the Chinese and American
Charlie
culture.
International. Blossom International.
So we're really, ironically, bringing back sound bowls to the Asian community, where sound bowls, if you guys didn't know, come from the Asian community. Yeah. That's where you call them Tibetan bowls, or melon bowls.
Yeah.
The Nepal people do it, but as Buddhists, we use bowls as well. And then if you go back deeper into all of our history, y'all, we all had church bells, temple bells, and gongs everywhere. That means we were constantly doing sound baths for ourselves.
Bing bong, biggity bounce.
So it makes you wonder, when we had invasions of countries, the first thing they did, you guys know, they would remove bells from the temples and churches. They did not want bells to be available for people who were conquered. Makes you go deeper into what medicine has now become because of the conquering of different cultures over each other.
Sit with that. Very good.
So colonization is not one race, y'all. Colonization has been a problem as humans we've been dealing for thousands of years. So right now we're now trying to uncolonize and renaturalize, indigenize,
Indigenize, primitize.
our medicine.
Come on. Our medicine, our technology.
Technology. Okay.
Did you say the dates for that one?
Yeah, so that will be March 28th, 29th. So that's Saturday, Sunday. But Sunday, definitely sign up for our public track so you can come. It's much cheaper. It's like $20, I think, to come just to check it out. And so you'll be able to experience other modalities, and then you'll have a sound bath at the end with us.
Perfect. And we can find that on your Instagram website.
Yeah, Instagram. I'll put a link on this description to make sure that you guys can also find the sound bath so you guys can go to this amazing event.
Yay. And then for the last thing we got on this month, and there's probably more, but this is what for sure we will be at. April. Oh, actually, this is in April. So this is coming up. So mark your calendars. April 4th at Pillars of Light from 7 to 10 p.m. Me and my core band, we will be putting together an event called Elements of the Season. And this project is surrounding zodiac signs, the energies per that month. It's going to be a monthly event that we'll be carrying out through the rest of 2026. It's going to be at Pillars of Light in Old Town Spring. This is a project that is near dear to my heart, one that I've birthed with my dear friend David Dorjak, also Mish Martinez and Javier de Leon. It is going to be breath work, forward, meditation. There will be sound bath and sound healing led by myself. And this is an event to just disconnect from the outside world and leave that there for a moment to reconnect with yourself and feel again. Feel rhythm, feel held, express yourself. We're going to have spicy cacao bites. It's going to be epic. This will be like our 6th iteration of this and brand new for this year. But we've been working steady, practicing every week, almost every week for the last few months. So this is going to be really special and really amazing. So I hope you can join us. Tickets and the link for this is in my Instagram bio. So if you're not following us, also follow us on our Instagram, Medicine from Our Hands, and then Goddess Glow Birthing, and Charlie Trinity.
Cosmic
Trinity. Sorry.
On Instagram. Yeah. So Trinity with my last name, TRINHITY.
Trinity, Goddess Glow Birthing. And you can find tickets, information for Sacred Bites, and performance information for medicine on our social media. So thank you so much for joining us there. And let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's get into our topic for the day. And so I wanted to kind of share this topic just because I've been experiencing a lot of people kind of going through a lot of stuff, right? And so kind of this idea of the awakening, people talk about spirituality and really waking up to spirituality. I find that what is the most needed during this time as people are kind of reawakening to who they are is this remembering. But this remembering really happens because we are tuned into the insight, the intuition within us. And I think that word, intuition and insight, has been the biggest gaslight in spirituality for so long. Because if we had access to our intuition, we would be choosing things that were best for us, for our family, and for our people. And what's happened is we are being told by outside forces like studies, like science, like the medical journals, all these experts, right? And I have to say these in quotes because if you were to look at these experts and whether or not they have the credentials, they probably have the credentials, whether they have the knowledge and the wisdom to share what they have to share, that's something that we have to look at. And I think what's happened today is we have gotten gaslit by people who have certification and they get paid to sell propaganda. And this is very deep. As you guys know, we are in World War III because the planet is revolting against the lies that have been perpetuated by everyone. And unfortunately, it has been by a lot of people because if you have to get paid to work, you can get paid to sell propaganda. And that's the number one reason why I try to push everybody to, if they can, to be entrepreneurs, have their own business, be a self-made American entrepreneur. I think that's the American dream. Don't follow everybody. The problem with following everybody, following whether it's the left, the right, the black, the whites, the Asians, the Hispanic, none of that matters because we're all people at the end. And our intuition is cultivated wisdom. Cultivated wisdom from our genetics and from our nurturing, how we were nurtured as we grew up. And so you find that a lot of us, so there's been different, I've been following astrology for a while now, and you'll notice there's different waves of people waking up to find themselves a little bit more. And a lot of times this intuition starts to like nag at them. And usually I'll start noticing in the chart where like something's showing up and they're like, hey, last year, and I'll show them how it was in their chart. Did you like have this awakening moment? They're like, how the fuck did you know this, Charlie? And I go, well, it's in your chart at this time. It was around this time. I go, yeah, this happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And this is long story, but usually it's that trigger that starts to get them to wake up. And so most of the time, you are coded to have an awakening moment because we all chose to fall asleep in the matrix because we had to fix the matrix. So we had to be in the matrix and then not be of the matrix to heal. And you've heard this, I've had many people tell me this, Charlie, you may look like them, you may act like them, but you're not from them. And that was really hard for me to understand because, so often I was made fun of for the wisdom that I had. And I was like, Charlie, that's not how people think. I'm like, bullshit, that's how nature thinks. But okay. And so as I got older and I went to engineering, and engineering is the biggest gaslight of nature, okay? Because science constantly steals nature and propagandizes into patents that they sell. But most of it came from nature's technology, right? And so really what's happened today is propaganda on TV, propaganda in medical systems, propaganda in your food, in the marketing of your food, propaganda in everything, y'all. So because of that, during these awakening moments, your intuition becomes very, very strong and starts to make you almost aware of what you're feeling within. And so a lot of times people feel this awakening is more like their emotions are waking up, their guidance system is waking up, and they have this strong feeling to do something or not do something suddenly, where before it was like, oh, all these people are doing, I better do it or they'll make fun of me. Right. And I grew up that way. I grew up in, Asian American in the Caribbean. So I already had this weird French, Vietnamese, culture, and the Americans were even more confused. They're like, are you Vietnamese? Are you French? And like, I'm both. And they're like, cannot compute two things at once. And so I unfortunately had to act American for so long.
Oh my gosh.
And so I removed a lot of my intuition because I was like, it is scarier to be ex-community in a community than it is to tell the truth. And there was this really interesting study done where they asked men and women if they were more willing to be incarcerated in jail or to tell them that they were wrong.
Well, what did they choose?
Turns out 11% of men chose to be incarcerated over telling their truth, right? I'm not surprised. Yo, but you know what's the most surprising?
Tell me.
It's the women. Do you know what that number is that they chose to incarcerate themselves?
Tell me.
It's really bad.
90.
It's 90%.
I was going to say, was it 90?
90%. 90%. So, this is just trying to tell us that, and ironically, in spirituality, women have the strongest intuition.
Ooh. The womb. We bleed.
Yes. And then, right. So you bleed, right? But yet today, what does medicine tell you when you bleed too much? What's the number one surgery they suggest to you when you have issues with your periods?
I hate this so much because I know the answer. Hysterectomy.
Yeah, you don't need your uterus because you bleed.
What the?
Yeah.
Bong,
And
biggity.
usually ask yourself, is it a man who's suggesting you to take out your
Usually.
uterus or is it a woman?
Usually.
So when we're talking about being lied to for so long, you're being lied to. Yes, we're always being lied to. Whether or not you believe a lie or not is based on how strong your ability to connect to your intuitive senses. These intuitive senses starts with the five senses: sight, hearing, taste, touch, and I always forget the fifth one, feeling, right? And then people talk about these clear abilities that are beyond the senses. Your clear abilities come from your soul itself. The soul is not physical. So this is why when I did my eye closing retreats or dark retreats where you are not allowed to use your eyes for many days, your other senses get more heightened. And so this is why in general, and then why your spirit is able to see, because suddenly when people were closing their eyes blindfolded, they were able to see things. And people were like, how are you able to see this? Your spirit is seeing. People call it a third eye, but third eye is a physical eye inside of your brain, but it doesn't have any access to this outside world. And so it means that the spirit eye, this eye of the soul, is seeing beyond physical light. It's not using the cones of our eyes to see the world. And because of that, you can see someone's soul rather than someone's body. Right. And so that's when intuition kicks in and goes, hey, don't trust that person. And you're like, but that person looks so beautiful and they look like they know what they're doing and they look like the celebrities. So celebrities must know what they're doing. And then you feel the energy. You're like, that person is a really shitty person. How do I come to terms with the fact that they look so beautiful, but they're really shitty people? And this is why we're constantly being attacked by beautiful looking people, and because we're being constant and ironically, and I'm not saying beautifully spirited people that don't wear makeup, don't wear any kind of fake shit.
It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, a lot of people are dressing up to look like they're these radiant beauties, right? Men and women, right? I mean, fake boobs, fake butt. Guys are apparently getting fake implants too, so don't even get me started on that. Butt implants.
Wow.
And thigh implants.
Really?
And then bicep implants.
Guys,
yo, like seriously.
Good for them. Holy shit.
Yeah. But that's happening.
Wow.
And again, this is why it's so important for all of us to practice connecting to our intuition.
Yeah.
Because our intuition, this is another version of intuition. You guys probably heard of muscle testing.
Yes.
So muscle testing is another form of using your body's intuition, where your body tells you, nope, we don't like that, right? But your mind logically goes, well, that TV show told me that this is good for me, but every time I touch it, I get weak, right? That means your body says, those chemicals are not good for us.
Cut it.
But all these commercials I've been watching tell me this is good for me. Right? And this is why now, ironically and not ironically, cold plunge has become so popular to everybody, yet it's not for everybody.
Yeah, because it's intuition and discernment.
Exactly. Usually intuition works with discernment.
Sure.
Because that intuitive is the discernment place. The problem is that most people feel the trigger of the intuition. Something's getting triggered, but they don't know if it's good or bad. And that's the discernment of what intuition is trying to tell you.
Sure.
Right? So in that moment, you can choose to do this or that. But in the trigger of the intuition, it's just vibrating. Yeah. So if you don't know if that vibrating is good or bad, you're going to then misunderstand that trigger.
But also the reason why we can see and identify it and maybe not see it in ourselves is, well, in the Bible it talks about take out the mote of your own eye before you see. But it's like when we know a person who maybe isn't living all the best, but then they have another bad thing happen to them and another bad thing. And what is that? Negative synchronicities, and it's attached to them. So they're hearing the intuition. They're just with that vibration, that vibrational energy, they're just choosing the wrong thing. So it's like, if that is you, maybe I'm calling you out, right? Choose the other thing, because then good can start to come. Because that's the whole thing. It's not about good or bad inherently. It's about Darwinism and surviving. So it's about using your best technology, intuition in that day, in that moment, in that planetary alignment as told your purpose. From there, move.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just gonna say straight up there, Darwinism is lies. Okay,
Oh no.
Darwinism and survival of the fittest is what dark, destructive souls want to do, because survival of the fittest means that others are abusing you and taking your power away from you. In a real system that is fully connected to divine beings and divine source, you're always acting out from a divine perspective. So you're not abusing these concepts. So you're not going to run into some of these, like, even just the idea of breath work, right? Like we talk about this breath work, meditation. We used to always be in meditation, which is just self-awareness. We used to always be breathing from our belly like a baby, so we were always doing breath work. We used to always be listening to our family, but today we're being told our parents are lies, right?
Yeah.
And so constantly you're being lied to, and so your intuition is you telling your intuition, I don't believe you, I don't believe you, or I doubt you, because 10 people are doing it, and I don't want to be the one person that's the only one not doing it.
Yeah.
Even though your body's like, but that's not good for you.
Exactly. And the thing is, that's the crux that we're in. Yeah. That's the crux.
Right. Because most of us are afraid to be alone.
Loneliness.
Yes. And loneliness is also not true.
It's not real, because we came from a being. You had to get here with someone, so you're never alone, even if you have yourself. But we've been lied to think that we're even alone.
Yeah. And just, and this is what's really...
I guess people can make money on our loneliness.
Oh, they make
that's the whole thing. Y'all are making money on the loneliness.
Yeah. We want to be lonely so that you could have these distractions. Are you lonely? Come and date. And that's why dating, right? Dating wants you to be lonely so that you'll pay the money to use their dating apps, right?
Yeah.
So you can see that the whole system is parasitic based on your negative emotions to survive.
Man.
Even the word survival, that's first chakra issues. Darwinism was stuck as first chakra. So when you're asking for advice from the first chakra person, you ain't going anywhere, because they're stuck on the first chakra of survival. If you can't even be in love for each other in your heart chakra, where you can feel somebody else's pain and suffering, empathy is what we call it. Empathy is basically supposedly an evolutionary trait of souls. Because if you don't have empathy, you can't feel for anybody else. So you start abusing and attacking the other person. But empathy means you feel what the person's feeling, and you're able to change what you do to them. So you are much more conscious of what you're projecting outwards towards people. And vice versa, people are projecting back to you, and you can choose to go, oh, that's your projection, that's not mine. Thank you for your opinion, but I'm not taking that opinion to heart. That's not easy for a lot of people. And that's why we talk about intuition being so important, because now in this awakening process, I find so many people who are so alone, who can't just even talk to me because they'll start bawling and crying, and I want to be there. I have, my moon in Leo is in the 12th house, so I have Piscean compassion for others. But I also know is like my compassion with Leo is like, yeah, but we're the fucking winners here. We're the fucking heroes. You're the hero of your life. So as a Leo moon, I don't connect to protest and complaining and having issues with your life. Change your life, because you're the king and queen of your life. Moon in Leo. And it wasn't always easy for me. And obviously moon in Leo in the 12th house means it's not always seen to me. So my courage and my strength isn't always conscious for me. It's unconscious. And when I do it is because spirit is like welling inside me to do it. And I was like, oh my God, spirit took over, right? And we confidently say that. But when we say that, we're actually allowing the intuition, the insight, and the soul to take over. Usually it's always in control, but we have told it to shut up for so long that it lost control. And now half of the time we're OCD because we have lost control of our soul. So we need to do ABC 3 times because we don't have control. That's because we lost control of the soul and the intuition. So that's why it's so important. A lot of times, even in my own practice, I help people connect to intuition, because a lot of times they're like, Charlie, I don't know which healing modality I should do. Be quiet, take a deep breath, and I'm going to read you 3 things. Tell me what you feel. Where's your reaction to these 3 things? And usually people will react.
Yeah.
And they'll be subtle, be like,
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what you need. How do you know that? You moved. You moved when I said
You
that.
moved.
You moved.
You move.
I just know what a
Yeah.
uncomfortable move looks like and a happy move looks like. You're like,
Mhm.
if you're resting and you go, that's good for you. If you're like, yeah, that's probably
It's
not
bad.
good for
It's
you.
not good for your heart, high blood pressure, the things.
Exactly.
What you said, and I was just going to say it so you confirmed it. He said, let me read these 3 things. And what I was going to say was, I believed, that's hard. We stopped reading as humans, period. But libraries have been attacked, schools have been attacked. It's a whole thing.
Knowledge
I'm not
and
getting
wisdom.
into it, but that's the point. The point is, in stopping and reading, the book I was going to suggest was The 4 Agreements. One of the 4 agreements is don't take things personal. Although the other agreements, always do your best, be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personal. Do you know the last one? Okay, it's not coming to me. It will. But the point is, that one was the important thing because in intuition of reading other people's thoughts, how I've seen it is this. Trees are recycling themselves and becoming more, maybe not more important, but repurposing themselves by way of turning into paper. So previous souls or current souls have the ability to write and express their experience, fiction, nonfiction, so we can get it out to other souls, period, right? So there's wisdom there. If you're saying there's all these things happening in the world and I don't know what to do, and then look into yourself, a part of it is reading or being with yourself, seeing a story end to finish, or getting wisdom. And I feel like that's a lot of that has been lost, that you're just saying, okay, reason why people go to you to say therapy sessions, it's like, I don't feel safe in my home, I don't feel safe in my car, I don't feel safe in the drive-through line. I feel safe with you, sir. Let me close my eyes. Fine. That could be dangerous if Charlie isn't who Charlie is. Thank God he is, right? But he's literally witnessing and reading someone when they could do it themselves, but we've been so far removed, and I guess we don't think it's cool, it doesn't make money, or it's not provocative enough. We just don't do it, but it's so unnecessary because it's like, we have all the technology. We're brilliant. And some things I say as a chef is like, there's no new ingredients. There's not new fruits and vegetables being created unless it's GMO. But there's just a new way to put the same ingredients together. That's what makes a good chef an incredible chef. Thank God I've been in the game long enough to know what that is. But the same is true for intuition. If you're not feeding and reading and editing and recounting and reflecting, you will say, I don't know about my intuition and how to, and like, that's fine, but you're leaving your entire lifespan, your legacy up to chance. And it's ridiculous, but it's so common practice and it's everywhere. People don't see the problem with it. And for me, I'm like, this is why I eat my sea moss. This is why I eat my ginger. I'm not going to lose the plot. I've lost it before. I had it, I lost it, I have it again. I'm not letting this one go. So I'm just so grateful. I cursed and was very in a lot of pain for my cycle for many years. And now that I accept it as a sacred moon cycle and a privilege, and I assist with the purging and healing, it's working out. It's better. I'm not in conflict with my body. The reason why it's so hard to get into I feel good flow with your intuition is people are at war with their bodies.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it comes down to, again, the constant gaslighting, right? And when I say gaslighting is you've been told that your intuition, like usually like, I feel this way. And then usually gaslighting goes, no, you're making shit up. That is not how you should feel. This is what you're feeling and you're probably crazy.
Exactly.
What that does, it disingenuinely tells you to not trust how you felt.
Feel.
And you see it in a lot of clinical spaces when your gynecologist is a dude who has no water elements in his chart. And he's talking to a woman. And
Wow.
I'll tell you this, men doctors have said this, and they write it this way. When there's a woman who's very emotional during her period, he will write in his diagnosis, she's just extra emotional, and she's an extra high maintenance patient that you have to deal with. And so doctors looked at that and go, oh, I don't want to deal with that person. Ironically, that woman is having trouble with her cycle because no one is helping her through their cycle, because back in the days, we were using our body's output. So even in TCM, I use your eyes, I use your face, I use your nose, I use your tongue, and I use your pulse. Everything that shows up on your body, because the inside of your body is telling you how your health is based on how you look. And so when we have makeup now, when we scrape our tongue, when we cover our sickness, then we get diseases that are bad as cancer.
Right.
Because in the sickness, you go, hey, you have a sickness, address it. You address the sickness right away. After 10 of those sicknesses are hiding, you can only experience cancer, because cancer is a problem undealt with for years.
Yes.
Cancer does... I know there's turbo cancers now. We'll talk about that in another episode. But chronic cancer comes from years and years of you not looking at the illness that has turned into disease because you kept ignoring it by painting over it. And so that's what you did. When I tell people all the time, come to my office, no makeup, don't do anything, just show up now so I can see the feedback of your body. And I look at them and tell them what's wrong. They're like, how do you know all that? Your body just told me.
It's the input, output, and that's why it's so important. Why? Because the catch I just heard is why there's some man-made illnesses and diseases that doctors have no explanation and reasoning or cure for, is because the human that's creating it, and unless it's an autoimmune disease, the human that's creating the conditions in the environment is what's causing it. But if you're subconsciously living your life and choosing negative emotions, habits, and thought patterns, sickness can't help but live in your body, and no one can be there to help diagnose or help you out of it. You have to be your own savior. But I never realized, because I was thinking, how could there be all these? There's no cure. You're creating your own thing. And I realized the other part is the reason why sound bath and sound healing is so important and so important to me is it's healing and integrating and moving the emotions.
Yes.
Sickness lives in the emotions.
Yes.
Came
exactly.
together like that,
Yes.
Charlie. Thank you.
Blossom has definitely been listening.
Okay, I listened today. I was in it. Because these are the things, and not this one thing, keeps me up at night. Why? If I feel all this good in my heart, and I want to do good in the world, and I'm alive and trying to be healthy, and I see sickness and death and destruction and pain and trauma and trigger, how can I help? And for me, I'm like, feed the body, at least feed someone. But the upper echelon is like, that's the doctor-patient feedback loop. Who are you when you leave the clinic?
Exactly. Yes.
And who are you when you walk in? And how are you? I don't want to tell my doctor that. He can't help you. Anyways, I love you guys. I want you to be well is the thing. I'm going to be well, so you be well too.
Yeah. And this is why, again, like, you can tell deeply how people are based on if they have the ability to connect to another person intimately, because that's where real healing happens. That is why when we talk about loneliness, it's the loneliness of the soul. It's not the loneliness of the ego. You can hire people to show up and be there for you, but the soul will die every time you do that. So
prostitution?
Yes. Escorts. And there are people who pay for having dates, men and women. You can hire escorts so that you go to an event not by yourself, because we're so afraid of our own power.
Wow. And it's power.
It's power. It's all power.
But you know what it is? There's no such thing as the power school, elementary, the power school, middle school, the power school, high school, the power university.
Yeah.
It's just us growing ginger and turmeric in our what do you call it? The squat, in our native squat.
Yes, our native squat. Yes, exactly.
Keep your technology. I'ma keep mine.
Yes, exactly. We have so much technology
It's
embedded
tech.
in our culture and in our environment and in on the planet that we and a lot of people say this, we are the disease. Yes, but that's because we don't realize that power. So we act like a disease.
Yeah.
But actually, if you realize so speaking of that,
Oh, sure.
the deeper things I don't always like to share because it's so controversial, but like the germ theory, okay, I call it theory, and this irony that we don't and cannot find these microscopic diseases. COVID was never found, right? They never found the spike protein for COVID, yet everyone called it COVID. And then you hear things like your body hears and listens to what you say. So when you're saying, I'm sick, I'm getting sick, usually no one checks your body and what's happening inside your body when you're saying, I'm getting sick. Usually you come to the doctor and you check if you're sick because you're already sick.
Right.
And so they check your blood and they find things in your blood that shouldn't be there when you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have now coined that germs. And then they give it a name. So now this germ is this germ is that. Why? Because that germ is affecting your DNA. It's like, oh, okay. So because it's affecting your DNA, it's getting you sick, right? Yet in that analogies, because we don't know, we can't talk to a germ. Well, we can if you were psychic enough to, but because we can't, we are, so a lot of humans do this. We use our human perception to anthropomorphize. We may not understand animals, so we go, well, the animal does it because we humans would do it. Well, that animal is not human, so it wouldn't have that concept. Those germs are not humans. So they're not having the concept of like, oh, I'm here to hurt somebody. No, they're here to change your DNA. So then if you have this deeper conversation and revelation that we talk about, if you talk yourself into believing that you're getting better, your cells go, oh, we're getting better. What are your cells doing? They're changing and rewriting their DNA because that's firmware. Your software and your operating system is changing the code in your cells through DNA manipulation. So if you are, and that's why mostly viruses are always changing DNA, if you believe you're getting sick, your body's now changing its DNA. And in the moment you're getting sick and your body's changing DNA,
you could just say, I'm well,
I'm
healed.
Well, the doctor looks at it and go, look, these viruses are changing your DNA, not because you believe you're sick. So they could only see what they think they see, but they have no clue what you are going through. Right? And so this is where, you guys, DNA, I'm a computer engineer, okay? So before I became a doctor in acupuncture, that means that I was technically an engineer science in the what I call artificial tech until I went to nature tech. And so what's really interesting is this idea that your quantum field, and we talk about this, the source field, the open source field, and your auric field, that is so in tune with the way you believe that you are feeling that it will literally change the programming in your body through DNA.
Medicine from Charlie's hands and brain.
And so the same thing, if you saw a fire outside right now, and then you had a fire engine there, every time you see a fire and they're turning off the fire, if you had never seen the moment, because technically we don't see the moment the fire started.
Right.
Because none of us are putting cameras in yes, but in everybody's house and
right.
go, oh, that's when so that happened and that's the fire, that's the cause. No, if you were to look at every fire that happened and every time you saw a fire, there's a fire truck there, you would assume the fire truck caused the fire.
Right.
That's the logic that most modern scientists
Band-Aid on top
are using to anthropomorphize what our body's doing because they have no clue. And I say this because you guys are evidence-based practices. You guys are too late in the game. Your thoughts don't happen in the physical realm, but your actions do. So if you're only paying attention to evidence-based practice, you're only looking for the evidence of the action, not the evidence of thought. So it is a thought that got you sick first, but it's not your thought. It is the people around you that told you were sick.
Yeah.
It's the people around you. It's because you worked all day long. You're not on adrenaline. You're adrenaline fatigue. Your body's like, I have nothing left. And you're like, I still have to go to work and pay bills. So you go to work and you come home sick. And then your body's like, oh, fuck you. We're turning it. Everybody shut down. Shut down this body. This person doesn't know how to use it. We're just going to shut it down. And what happens? You usually see those people just sleep all day for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Because their body is so deteriorated because they're not taking care of themselves.
The self. And you know what I realized? So this is like the landing place, and I'm going to go back and back and back. We stopped gardening. Not farming, gardening. Why? Adam and Eve.
Oof.
Don't. It came to me right now like this.
Okay,
Hear it.
Okay, keep going. Intuition.
Yeah. Women, we weren't even hungry. We were in a fasted breatharian lifestyle. We didn't want. God, being a man or a woman, gave us a commandment. We don't like commands. We ate the fruit. We stopped gardening. We stopped farming. Humans evolved and said, you slave, you farm here. We resent farm work. Gardening taught me this. This is why I have 120 cactuses and other succulent plants. It taught me this in these last 5 years. When you garden daily, each plant has a unique vibration, word, lesson to teach you. Too much water, not enough water. Too much sun, not enough sun. Too much shade, not enough shade. Too much fertilizer, not enough fertilizer. I mean, the whole 9 of it I've experienced. And it's in gardening, I realized, well, many things. But for one, sow seeds every day or as often as possible. You don't know what can take and grow, and you don't know what seeds are rotten, for example. But that's like one lesson that I've learned. And what I realized in that daily maintenance of my garden, I know when to prune. I know when to let the sun do its thing. I know when to bring plants inside. Why am I saying this? If we were all as sensitive to the things in our body, if we treated our bodies like a garden and pruned when it was time to prune, fasted when it was time to fast, ate and feasted when it was time to feast, held and meditated, and watched plants, how they grow, right? In silence, meditating always, growing always, silently, our cancer rates wouldn't be so high. Why? What is cancer? I've seen it under a microscope, and there's an article. I wish I could find it and just add it, but cancer is no more than radical growth of cells of a thing. And what the article, why I loved it, and I have so many cactuses, they measured or showed how it was just like the radical psychedelic growth of cactuses propagating, just circles on top of, and it's mass. So cancer isn't inherently good or bad, it's growth. So if you're not gardening, if you're not recognizing the cyclical patterns of growth, how to maintain a garden, you won't know how to maintain your own garden. And the reason why I know this specifically and can say it so clearly, oh man, it's in the other room because we can't have drinks in here. I'm always carrying my water mason jar with me. It's on my hip because I don't like to be dehydrated. My cells don't like to be dehydrated. And my body is like, you're going to go into fatigue for how much you walk, talk, run, eat, and do all these things. Gardening. Blossom. Baby. Charlie, what him say me do? What you think?
I mean, I won't argue with that for sure.
Okay,
I
thank
totally
you.
agree.
Thanks.
You know,
Thank you.
I think our gardening saved my dad. You know, he was the doctors when he came into the hospital were like, he should have been dead a few years ago.
What?
With what we're saying because he had a pacemaker. and the pacemaker just couldn't keep up with just his. They're like, no, we're not gonna keep up with keeping the heart alive anymore. And my dad was like, we're not gonna play this game either. We're done. Right. So by the time he
Wow.
left, he had chosen to leave because his body had given out. Like literally, like the pacemaker was keeping him alive, but the pacemaker was it's at its end, and the heart's like, don't keep me alive. I'm done. And that was just because at the time, my dad felt like no one needed him, and he was like, oh, I can finally just let go. Right.
Wow.
Versus when I first came 5 years ago or 6, 7 years ago, I wasn't living with him, but but the guides and my intuition and my guides and everyone, basically intuition was really loud and they're like, go home, go home. I'm home. I'm in Houston. Go home, go home, go home. I'm home. They're like, go home to your father. And I was like,
Oh God.
and that triggered me so hard. I was like, I don't want to be home with dad. And they're like, why? And that's when it unraveled. I realized I was not facing my masculine, my father, my heritage. Because my mom and dad fought a lot. And so I always believed in my mom more, right? A lot of children sometimes will trust their mother more than the father because the father tend to be much harder and stricter. But my father was the mother and my mother was the father. My mother was the one who was yelling at me and making fun and not criticizing me. My father was like, here's food. Are you happy? Good. I'm done. What else do you need? Right?
Wow.
So when I came there, he was basically just half gardening. He was kind of gardening just because he was bored. And I was like, Dad, I love gardening. We didn't have this. So I was like, I was like joking around, Dad, you know what? I love your sugar cane. Why don't you just make enough sugar cane when I can sell it? He's like, okay. And so 4 years later, I have literally a sugarcane factory in the backyard, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, there was literally no place left. I have every nook and cranny in the backyard, in the front yard, and random places that shouldn't be growing anything. My dad put sugarcane.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing.
So when literally my dad had no place to put sugarcane, and jokingly he was walking around going, Charlie, I'm done. This is your yard. You now are in charge of it. And I was like, what the fuck, Dad? Why are you saying that? And that's when he started to deteriorate and started to leave. But he knew that and the joke was always like, Dad was always going to wake up and everybody in the neighborhood knew him because every day at exactly 7 in the morning till 10 in the afternoon, 10, 11. So for 4 hours every day, he would walk his dog and go work on your yard for hours. So whoever walked around knew him. They would stop sometime, but my dad didn't speak English very well. So they didn't have deep conversation. And then so my dad passed and it was my time to be out there gardening. Everybody will walk by. Hey, where's the old man that used to work out here in the garden? And every time it would just be like, wow, that's how people remember Dad. And Dad survived another 5 years with me because he had purpose. Right. So when he literally had no more purpose to garden, he's all like, I'm done, Charlie. I put as much sugarcane as I put on the ground. The rest is up to you. Wow. This year was my first time managing the entire sugarcane factory by myself. Yeah. Super overwhelming. Super overwhelming. I literally had to call all these extra people like, yo, can someone come help me do sugar cane?
Yes.
It's
more
so much.
More sugar cane.
But just to show you guys that even my dad would joke and say, look, I'm healthier than all these old people because why? I'm working in the garden every morning. And that I believe is my medicine to stay alive till today. So the day that he could no longer, and actually we said this, our whole family's like, wait, Dad wasn't in the yard? Yeah. Dad hasn't been in the yard for 5 days. What's wrong with Dad? We all worried because he wasn't working the garden. And that's when we knew it was time for him to leave.
And garden, that's where we start. It's purpose. Heaven on earth.
Well, he left everything he could.
Sure.
So today now when people are like, what's your inheritance from your dad? I got sugar cane for the rest of my fucking life. What's your inheritance? Some people get a house. I got sugar cane until the land is dead. I can keep growing sugarcane every year. Every year I see my dad in sugarcane. So that's what gardening, that's what, if people want to talk about abundance.
Regenerative.
Abundance.
Legacy.
My dad left abundance for me.
Trust
right?
fund.
Exactly.
That's the trust.
Exactly. Trust fund, right? He's literally trust in me to have the funds to support myself by selling sugarcane. Now, obviously, that was not my scale to be a salesman of sugarcane. I thought that was really just for me, it was an opportunity to actually give people medicine from the ground, right?
Right.
And so to me, it was like, well, I can't be an herbalist and not work on the ground. So I went into
Period.
it.
Yeah.
But like my dad had more time. He was retired in farming, and I was still in school and I was still working. And then when I could, I'd come out and work on the yard with him. And he always would tell me things what to do. But there was days I was working and studying, and so I couldn't, right? So just to tell you that, like, after I started growing the sugar cane, I was like, yo, I have too much, and now I have to give it away. And that's what it happens when you grow food. You have too much food. That's why when people are like, the whole Thanos thing, you guys, anybody who says we don't have resources to manage people is a lie. It's a lie. You guys aren't gardening. You guys aren't farming. If you guys were farming, you'd see we have so much food. I have to give it
Yeah.
away because the food just keeps growing.
Yeah.
The land just keeps growing.
Well, it's a twofold. I feel like the feminine part is the gardening, the masculine part is the farming, and it's this. Don't just farm. That's what we did. Taking from the ground, taking. Oh yeah, compost. Oh yeah, put seeds in the ground. Give. That's the whole part of gardening. But the reason why it's so forgotten about and it's not a task or chore anyone wants to do because you don't see the immediate gratification. Enter microwaves, microwave culture.
Age of convenience.
Fast is never better. I don't want it quick. The only thing I want quick is a hot pizza. Anything else, oh yeah, slow down. But it's that.
Yeah.
So people think, we should be so grateful to our farmers right now. They have planned this grocery store, whatever grocery store is local to you, 3, 4, 5 months in the past, just so we could be eating the freshest, the best today. When you garden, that's the at least length of putting lettuce, kale, tomatoes, potatoes, corn, carrots in the ground. But it's best. It's you have something to look forward to. Plants are so life affirming. So I think why I love camping so much, it just it eradicates fear around mundane tasks and radicalizes my soul. And I'm in nature, so anything I need to transmute, I'm talking to the sacred fire. It's going up to the air. I'm doing a lot more breath work. Breath work is easier because there's so many pine trees. I'm drinking more water just because I want to be hydrated in nature. And I'm usually barefoot. That's how I desire to start every day of my life. Thankfully, I've had the privilege in the last few years to do some modality of that. But I'm better for it. I know it. I just feel better. I didn't always feel like this. I didn't always look like this. 6 years ago, I was terrified to go into grass because I was like, things are going to touch my feet. Wow. Now I don't care to wear shoes. I see, but it came to me like this. Someone had put in like a story, like, be barefoot to the ground and like connect to the divine. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I thought, animals don't wear shoes. They're always on the ground connecting. What do we eat if you're not vegetarian? Animals on the ground. So it's getting to the ground when there's so many hospitals and buildings and school places and work places. But being in nature is the source of healing. And just from this conversation, the intuition that's guided us, this is how you know we need to be doing this and talking about this because no one else really is. People are. But to this degree, with a doctor backing it up and us actually living it out, it's very powerful. And I'm happy to be here because even from this conversation, I learned so much. I'm better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
So I like to kind of, towards the end of our show, really focus more on giving you guys solutions and ideas on where to go find your own healing or to do the work that you need to connect to your own healing. Just because we love to talk about the crazy shit that's happening in the world, but we love more talking about the ways we are changing the world because we know how fucked up the world is.
Right.
You know, and if you are feeling depressed, how fucked up the world is, you're probably halfway through the process of what is it? The 7 steps of
Seven,
change or something, where you go through denial, anger. You know, many of you guys will go through the denial that the world is that corrupt. Then some of you will start realizing it's that bad, but then we'll get depressed and angry from it. But some of us who have been in it for a while, we really went past it and realized that like angry didn't do anything.
Angry doesn't do much. It can inspire, but it's not an action.
Usually, it's not anger that inspires you to change. It's frustration, right?
Oh, okay.
Anger is the expression of that. The frustration can't express it. And so we start to think about solutions. When we're angry, we just want to express that violent tendencies, right? Because this anger is very explosive. It's fiery.
Yeah.
Too much fire can burn and destroy, right? And so this is what we talk about. Keep calm and carry on, right? And keep calm comes from the idea of breath work in Zen Buddhism. It's that in the moment that you're angry, you only have the solution of anger. But when you're no longer angry and you are calm, you have the solutions of all of your faculties. When you're angry, you're seeing red. Fire comes to your head, and now your head is overwhelmed with fiery options. When you are calm, even though you're upset and frustrated, you're taking a breath, you're keeping calm, but you know what's the problem? Suddenly, when you're taking that breath, the 4 elements become accessible. Not just the fire that's overburning and making you see red, and suddenly you're only going to be angry, but suddenly the 4 elements. Anger. Okay, I'm angry. But can I calm down with nourishing myself? Maybe I should eat first. Maybe I need to take a breath first. And we take a lot of breath together because we always get that anger because we know how bad, how corrupted, how frustrating, and how suppressing and oppressive our current system is. But we also know that we are made of the likeness of the divine, and we are the divine. And so when we take a deep breath, we are connected to the divine, to the intuition within us. And in that moment, the red disappears and the options of the elements and the options of intuition and insight clicks in.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is why like a lot of people tell me all the time, Charlie, you don't get mad. I go, I only get efficient. I'm a Virgo stellium. We don't get mad, right? It's not a fiery element. It's an earth element. We don't waste time. To me, anger is the process of wasting fire energy. Take that energy within. I used to, when I used to work at Disney in corporate, I used to deal with a lot of bureaucracy crap, right? And that would make me go home and I would work out to help process the anger I was feeling all day long from not being able to express what was happening. And that's when I realized that I would work out, and I was there at Disney for 6 years. 3 of those years, I was working out. And at the 4th year, I realized that I could actually feed that energy towards something else. So I started to do the job I needed to do minimum. And then I went and started to do the things I love to do. So I turned my anger into passion and motivation. And I fed that fire within so that I could start doing extra things outside of work. And that's when I realized the word, don't ask for permission in corporations. Ask for forgiveness. Half the time you won't even need to forgive. People will be like, oh, you succeeded? Well, good job for doing that.
It's true.
They won't, because if you ask for permission, people don't have the vision to see it. So they'll tell you no.
Doubt.
Because they've been told they're useless.
Exactly.
And they're stupid. They don't know shit. So they have to pass that on because if someone told them they're not useful, they have to pass that on to somebody else so they feel useful that they told you you're useless.
Madness.
It's parasitic,
It's
y'all.
It is. And guess what? If it's not you that this has happened to, you know the person we're talking about. We know.
Yeah. And it could be your parents. It could be your best friends. It could be your lovers. But it happens.
It happens. Just one thing I want to add. You said you wanted to give solutions and ideas. And I love that. And thank you for remembering and going back to the breath because it's the God particle. It just makes sense because it doesn't make sense that everything is spinning. There's atoms. What is holding it together?
Let me give you full context of when she kept saying God particle because there was a scientific experiment This is what we call CERN. CERN is a giant hadron collider. And the idea is science and the masculine science energy loves to like break things down to its like core so that they can start like understanding how things are made. So they're like, oh, protons is the least, the smallest thing. So can we make two protons hit each other and can we see what comes out of these protons, right? But they believe because a proton in the atomic structure is the element that turns anything into something else. A neutron only creates balance and an electron is only creating a charge. The proton itself is going from oxygen to silica to all these atomic structures. So the proton is really an electron. I mean, a proton is really where the positive energy is. So when they collided protons together, they said if the protons break up, the next particle that shows up is the God particle. So when it happened in 2012, before 2012, and there's experiments that happen. Our reality changed after we found out about the particle. So when the proton particles blow up, they were left with a photon element or two photons. You guys know what a photon is? A photon is light particle. So when two matter broke apart, they were left with light. That means that the entire physical experience is made up of light. And that light is what we call God particle. So why we say the sun, we pray to these light energies, because we often say in spiritual circles, light represents memories, darkness represents forgetfulness. Right? When you enlighten, you are lighting up from within because you are letting the spirit of God itself, the light particle, rise within you. And you are spinning to a positive spin of this light particle. And that's why we say when we fall into the darkness, we fall into the negative particles, because now we're speaking downwards into. That's why the concept of hell and heaven came out. But they're really just frequencies of higher frequencies and lower frequencies.
Spiral up, spiral
exactly.
down.
So they had to name it because obviously all old men need to name shit for some reason because they don't understand things that are unnamed, right?
Mama Gaia. We need no name. It's Mama.
It's Mama and Papa, right? And so the mother-father energy so the mother energy is the physical element. The father energy is this photonic light element, God. And so the God particle is in both. However, because I'm an engineer in computer science, I made video games and I made virtual reality games. The entire digital world is just photons.
Yeah,
just
sense.
Electrons, pixels coming up, right?
Pixels.
That means that I call it the false light.
Yeah, makes sense.
When the Bible talks about the false light.
Black mirror.
Yeah, the black mirror, the light that comes from our TVs and computers is the false projection of the God particle.
Wow.
And the God particle within us is a true God particle. So when you're watching TV, video, and I know ironically we're on podcast and you're watching us on this video, but this idea of yin yang is we're trying to bring the light within the black mirror.
Bong.
We are the light that is trying to bring the God spirit particle back into the digital format, because digital format never had to be devoid of spirit. It's just the dark ones chose to have it devoid of spirit so that they could trick us out of our divine insight and intuition of this God particles, because everything you see is light, right? Even in computers, when you play a video game and you can't go through a wall, it's just light telling you can't go through.
Right.
Meaning that the photon itself has baggage, has information. So when there's information, you feel physicality. When there's no information, you can't touch it, right? It's light. Even the light that's coming into the room to light us up and reflect that light back into your camera, that's the God particle, right? And so when we talk about this whole idea of God particle, it means that, and light is everywhere. That's why faster than speed of light, right? Is because wherever light touches is God.
Wow.
Right? That's why in Lion King, our kingdom is
Is
where
it
the
the light
sun
it
touches the
touches?
land,
Yeah.
right? That's very divine because the lion, Leo,
Mm.
is trying to, the sun is trying to tell you that, right? There's this divine particle based on the photon,
Mm.
right? So
Wow.
that's kind of where this whole concept comes from, and why I was sharing with her and why she brings it up is because we're all made of this one particle, and
Yeah.
it gets more complex as we
Sure.
go up in dimensions.
But I mention it because I felt the God particle my whole life. I was trying to figure out the one anchor, but it only makes sense meditation and stillness, and when you're just there. It feels the closest to God, but to have this scientific backing and saying, no, that light particle you do feel that's always happening all at once everywhere is the God particle. I say this to say my one piece I got from someone who was in a lot of recovery and in many different AA rooms for various reasons is something they teach. And this is something else I want to say. People that are off the beaten path, they're not so off, so far gone. A lot of the psychics, intuitive, witches, and other people, ADHD, autism, are just people that have, I don't know, a fractal in their consciousness so they can channel divinely. And it's for the purpose of irritating and triggering you, right? Is something that they teach in these rooms to help people that have gotten off the beaten path to get back to themselves. The problem is the solution is just kind of stop what you're doing, talk to one another, and not even hope for the best, but that accountability. But I still feel like there might be a loop to go back. So what they say, though, is HALT. It's an acronym, and it stands for it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And so what I want to suggest to anyone who feels the overwhelm, you've made it this far in this podcast, good for you. But the next time you are feeling that vibrational energy and you don't know what to do with it and the intuition's coming, halt. I'd say breathe first. Ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Or am I tired? And hopefully, if you eat something, if you identify why you're angry, forgive, release. If you recognize that you're lonely, you need a friend, a hug, a parent, a partner, something. Or if you need a nap and you need to regenerate because life is long. At the end of it, that situation won't be so pressing, angry, frustrating, and difficult for you. You'll see, oh, this is a lesson. Oh, this is a challenge. I'll get right through it. But I just wanted to add that because that is, for me, when this halt came to me, to tell you guys, it's the embodiment of recognizing, honoring, and respecting that the God particle exists. It's in us. It's always. And the only thing we need to do is stop running from ourselves and God and just sit and listen.
I just had I never heard of this before. Right? So it was
Oh.
really interesting as you said hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. I was like, oh, those are the 4 missing elements.
Oh.
Hunger is food. Anger is fire. Loneliness is water. Disconnected. And tired is breath. When you don't take enough breath, we're always tired.
Tired because you go to sleep, yawn.
Yeah, that's why when you actually work out and do physical activity, you have to breathe to get oxygen. Otherwise, you get tired.
Yeah. Wow. There it is.
4 elements.
So they're always everywhere. Thank you for making that connection. I knew if I said it, you would give me what the juice is. And it's that elemental healing at every level, spiritual healing at every level, vibrational healing at every level, astral protection and healing at every level is what I wish for you all.
Yeah. So to summarize, I'd say some of the exercises that I would send you home with to connect your intuition would be, you guys don't need to pay for a silent retreat. I know that people do and they love it, but you have just got to learn to turn off external inputs. Whether one day you say, I'm going to stay home right now, turn off TV, turn off everything that distracts you, and just give yourself a home vacation, right? It starts with the day first. Don't do a whole week. That's silly. Like, you'd go crazy within a day because no, not many people, like we said, loneliness, but true loneliness, it doesn't exist because in the moment that you feel really alone, you also have God and your guides to talk to, right? So that's why, like, my own dark retreats, what would happen is my guides were really fucking loud. And I realized that in that moment that I could not see anything and I felt like I was alone in my room with nobody else around me. I had the loudest guides in my life. And you're like, guys, can you like not speak up? You're so loud. And they're like, we've been speaking the same loud tone.
Frequency.
You're just so busy looking at TV, looking at stupid shit, talking to other people, trying to avoid us.
They don't say you're deaf. They don't say that. They're like, you're listening always.
Yes.
Your ears are on.
You're just choosing
not
to listen to what you want to listen to, not what you have to listen to. Right. And so what happens when we are going, and so the deepest, and so this is why plant medicine became super popular during this time, is because plant medicine sped up and heightened your ability to listen to the internal voices. DMT was one that did this for me in I don't know, usually it's like 2 minutes of DMT.
Wow.
You know, I wake back up and I was like, holy fuck. I think I talked to all the versions of my, during DMT trip is when I heard just that really, really soft voice that I could never hear before. And I was, and at that moment, I didn't know that it was the voice of my intuition and my divine soul. But I was then working out one day, and then I would hear these echoes, and I would hear the last voice that would be really, really soft. And that would trigger me into like, oh shit, that's intuition that's talking to me. And I have to keep listening to this really, really soft voice because that's the most potent voice. But you're so busy using your outside eyes, outside ears, outside nose, and outside mouth that you're missing the fact that your soul, spirit, is able to hear these invisible realms, right? And so this echo made me realize that, like, turn off the ears. Don't listen to music right now. Only listen to silence. And what happens? Only my echoed voice would talk to me.
Wow.
And that means that I was never alone. When you think you're alone, you're choosing not to talk to yourself, which is the divine version of yourself that's always been within you.
And not doing it is destructive.
So destructive, because then this is now why we say discernment. Now you start doing the things that you think are good for you, that everyone tells you is good for you. But at no single point have you actually sat there and listen, feel, hear, connect, touch yourself, right? And we joke about this. When we touch ourselves, we start going straight to masturbation. But like, no, like you don't have to go into the sacral chakra. Touch your chest, touch your shoulders, touch your face, touch your eyes. Not literally in your eyes. No one get pink eye, but you know what I'm saying? Like, touch your body, because it is your vessel that is honoring the divine version of yourself that is inhabiting this beautiful vessel, right? And so intuition is you having the connection to your spiritual soul self that is the divine God self. That's why the soul self is the fragment of God incarnated. And the vessel, the body, is the vehicle that allows us to touch this physical reality that we have chosen to play in, to allow our divine source being to experience things like a movie. It's like being the director and the filmmaker for the movie and saying, I want to watch the movie not knowing and having any expectation of what I made. That's God. When God watches its own movie and go, wow, that was amazing. Oh, I didn't realize I did that. That's us. And God is always saying, wow, we did this. We're always doing these beautiful divine things.
And it's forgetting leads to the depression and disconnect and erring on whatever intuition. Don't forget your God. Don't forget God exists. Don't forget God is everywhere, always. Don't forget all at once.
Omnipotent. And that's why, like, the omnipotence, and as people are like, I am God. Yeah, no, you're fractal of God. So don't start saying that like you can also act like a woman. I mean, like for me saying, oh, I'm also a woman in a soul spirit, not in physical form, because I'm not omnipotent presence of God. I am the soul fraction of God because all of us are soul fragments to experience the omnipotence of God. So when we're all acting in our divine path, we are getting to see the full beauty of the divine spirit in all of us, in all things, experiencing the most divine experience.
Mic drop. What else? What more could we say?
And we'll stop there because
We'll
that
stop.
alone,
It's
and
enough.
just being able to learn to listen to yourself,
Ah.
and I would say just simple, well, the simple thing is you can totally blindfold yourself for a few hours. You can go into a room, turn off all the music, all the sound, and just sit there and listen to empty sounds. Oh, we call white sounds, white noise. Because what would happen is your head will start like coming up. Oh, what's that sound? What's that sound? What's that sound? Eventually, after the third hour, you'll be so bored of listening, you can only then start listening inwardly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the goal of intuition practice is to turn off the external world, however that is, your senses, right? Turn off the phone. Don't let anyone call you at this moment. If you're expecting a phone call, you are connected to the outside world and not to your divine version of self. Because really, once you tune into your divine version of self, you will choose who you want people to call you, and you'll then get the calls you want.
Yes.
The problem is, and I get this a lot, is you get the fucking, not prank calls.
Scam likely
calls. And you don't want that to interrupt your
come on,
meditation,
exactly.
right?
Because I realized that that's everyone's job.
Yeah.
Everyone's job is to keep you distracted off your thing and say, "Are you on your thing?"
And they'll scam likely get paid to call you to distract you.
So, or yeah, lose your phone, find your soul, go camping. That's it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So if you really want to have an embodied experience with us, please join our events where we are living from our intuitive space, and we're always, letting people speak. And you're like, hey, I don't want that. Okay, I appreciate that. And we can still talk. A lot of times people feel rejection as I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, no, rejection just means that's not something I want to do. Okay, cool. And then keep talking. But so often we feel personally take rejection as if like that person don't want to talk to you because they don't want to do that you're doing. No, they just don't want to do that. That's it. Just move on. But so often we take things personally because
Four agreements. Don't take things personally.
exactly,
if you do,
because
you lose.
your spirit is still experiencing, and the no's and the yes is part of the experience. That is why I say all the time, light and dark is part of the journey. If you take one out of the other, you get sick. Right? So
you taught them how to stay well, how to not be sick. Come on, doctor. Come on. Are we in clinical rotation? What's going on?
Yes. You're in an
Healing through
unpaid
the screen.
internship listening to us talk about medicine.
Particles, just light healing through. God particle coming through.
But yeah, the only
seriously,
advice
thank
right
you,
now
Charlie.
is
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, that would be like my biggest advice is you should do it weekly. You should do it weekly. Journaling is also good. If you guys already do journaling, good. But if you're only doing journaling and things aren't changing, then change it. Don't only journal. Switch to something else. Your modality of journaling is a different. You're allowing your soul to speak through your hands and your writing. But when you are practicing the silence retreat, silence in your home, blindfolding yourself, you are just letting soul just be. And that's very difficult because even in the doing soul, you're actually going against just being soul, right? Being a soul and a spirit isn't about doing something and showing to God that it can do something. Soul is all about being ourselves, right? So my joy of healing is not because I have to provide healing. I'm just joyful for healing, right? My soul just can't help but heal, right? That was my own journey of, healing people when they weren't asking to be healed, and then realizing that like when people have to be healed, they have to make the commitment towards me, and I will offer my services. But if I were to just give away my healing to everybody, then actually I'm degrading the power that I choose to make my healing sacred. So, a lot of people are like, hey, if you're a healer, you should do it for free. Hey, if you are making food, you should do it for free. All our time is sacred. So anytime someone says, oh, you should be doing for free because you're spiritual, fuck that. Fuck that. That's a gaslight because spiritual people want you to be poor. Fuck that. Spirituality is abundance. Because if spirituality is growing food and farming, guess what? It's abundant. That means that we should not be living in this scarcity mentality that we have been tricked into, right? So that's why tune into yourself and you'll find that you're fully abundant because you have everything you need and that you just have to tune into that experience.
Yes. And truly, you can say more words, but my last thing about this is, and if you don't hear it the first time, go to sleep, wake up, and try again. Rinse, repeat.
It's a video game.
Rinse, repeat.
Do it until it happens.
Because I was like, Charlie, you can just get people on intuition on the first time? I don't know. It took me years.
It took me years. It took me years.
Shake my hand.
Yeah, I've been at this for at least 15, 16 years, y'all.
Years,
so
dude.
The first 10 years,
28.
maybe the first 5 years, I still didn't trust what was going on.
Yeah. So the piece of advice, if everything sounds good and dandy, it sounds like Goldilocks, your middle ground is practice, devotion, how dedicated you are to wanting to heal, having things change, but it's remembering, take a breath, let it rest, start over, and something will speak to you.
Yes, exactly. So thank you for tuning in to this another awesome episode. Thank you, Blossom. Y'all, it's happening. Welcome to Apocalypse, and you have all the power to change the world. So come join us in our events. Come join us together here in Houston or outside of Houston. That's fine. But welcome to the Apocalypse. You are now the one that matters to make this world a better place. So come and join us as we're all choosing to make a better place for us and for ourselves and for each other.
And if you've made it to the end of this podcast, sincerely thank you. But this is your sign. This message is for you. Do the work.